Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Yep. I think the 16-team playoff is in the bag. We're going to talk about that. Also, will Bryce Underwood stay at Michigan if they get hammered, which I think is somewhat inevitable, but can they keep their number one quarterback, who is an absolute phenomenal player? I mean, if you've seen any of his highlights, he's ridiculous. Can run, can throw. I mean, he's Mr. Touchdown. But if Michigan gets hammered, it's going to be difficult to keep him. Now, I made everybody mad yesterday. I made Michigan fans mad. I made Ohio State fans mad. I made Big Ten fans mad. And it's all because we discussed whether or not Michigan would lose their national title. Would they get a postseason show ban? Would they have wins vacated? What kind of penalties, fines, all that kind of stuff for the sign stealing scandal that's been the biggest cheating scandal we've seen in a generation.
The sign stealer guy.
And I gave you my honest opinion. Now, do I technically think they should keep their national title? No. 2 years and 7 games they should have vacated, and they should lose any championship they got in those 3-year period. But that's probably not what's going to happen. I was at about 50-50 whether they'd keep the national title or not. Now I'm at about 75-25 that they'll probably keep it. Now I'm going to show you a video right now, and it's from a Michigan TV station. And this was back during the national title. If you're an Ohio State fan, this is really, it's going to upset you. So it might be best. Humongous, tell them.
Just walk away.
Yeah, you may want to walk away from this. It's about a minute or so, and it could I don't want to upset anybody, but I got to show you this because this is why I think they're more likely to keep the natty than they are to lose it.
The NCAA's president says Michigan won the national championship, quote, fair and square, despite what he admitted was an unusual decision to share information about cheating allegations during the Wolverines' 15-0 run. Charlie Baker, speaking at an NCAA convention Wednesday night, the president of the NCAA believes the information he shared allowed U of M at the time and the team's opponents to adjust and get rid of what he called any potentially unfair advantages. He said, quote, at the end of the day, no one believes at this point that Michigan didn't win the national title fair and square. So I think we did the right thing. Jim Harbaugh and some players were asked moments after the win about the allegations and how they think the season went. Harbaugh jumped in to respond.
Can I? Yeah, it couldn't have gone better. It went exactly how we wanted it to go, to win every game. The off the field issues, we're innocent, and we stood strong and tall because we knew we were innocent, and I just like to point that out. And these guys are innocent, and yeah, overcome that. It wasn't that hard because we knew we were innocent. So yeah, that's really what I want to say. It went exactly how we wanted it to go.
Yeah, what's the big deal? They were innocent.
Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
All right, OSU fans, I warned you that was not going to be easy to watch. Anyway, they're going to use Charlie Baker's words to kind of paint him in a corner. That's why I think they're more likely to keep the natty than they are not to keep the natty. Now, what I do think is going to happen to him is a 4-game suspension for Sherrone Moore for deleting the text messages from Connor Stallions. Probably a 1-year show cause because he is a repeat offender. He's already been nailed for the recruiting violations previously. So being a repeat offender with the NCAA, they take that into consideration. That's why I think you get a 1-year show cause. This will test whether or not a coach can continue on at the same school with the show cause. Nobody's ever really pressed that. Now, obviously, nobody would hire him somewhere else, but he's already under contract. I think it's iffy whether or not he can or not. They're definitely going to push it because I don't think they're going to let Sherrone Moore go even if he gets a show cause. I just don't think they will. Many people disagree. Buckeye Scoop came out and thought that he would be replaced. I don't think they want to pay him off. I don't think they want to fire him, especially given the fact that most of this is all out in the open now. So all of those things got me in trouble yesterday.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
But that's where I think this is headed. I think they're going to get a huge, unprecedented penalty of around $15 million, which would be almost double the highest penalty they've ever hit a team with. Tennessee got an $8 million penalty over the Jeremy Pruitt thing, where he paid some players $64,000 over 2 or 3 years in a Chick-fil-A bag. It was not a McDonald's bag. Everybody, McDonald's bag. No, Chick-fil-A bag. Details matter, people. Anyway, 15 million is what I think it will come in at. It might be as high as 25, but 15 feels about right. I think they're going to lose 30 scholarships. Tennessee lost 25. 30 seems about right. Again, that one's not as bad because we're going from 85 to 105 scholarships. So even if they gave up 5 for 6 years, they're still at 100. That doesn't affect you as much when you're at 85. It'll have some impact. And they'll hit them with a bunch of recruiting restrictions, which won't matter because it's all about the money anyway these days. So will Bryce Underwood stay if they get a 2-year postseason ban? That's the big penalty that I think they're going to get because they probably won't take away the natty. The 2-year postseason ban is the biggest way they can hurt Michigan. That hurts them bad. Some people think they might even get a 3-year. I don't think it'll be 3. I think it's going to be 2. Will Bryce Underwood hang around under those circumstances? You know, he's got a $12 million deal. I'm assuming it's a 3-year deal, probably, maybe 4. So he's making $3 to $4 million a year. He can get that probably anywhere and play for a national title, play for the playoff. Now, Michigan, I think, is going to be a pretty good team. They spent a lot of money last year in NIL. I'm sure they're spending a lot this year. I mean, they spent $12 million for Bryce, who was the number 1 quarterback in the country. So I think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything with it this year or next year because they're going to get hit and hit hard in June. Now, it's June 6th is when they'll have the meeting or the hearing. And I think it lasts 2 days, and then within 45 days, the penalties will come raining down on Michigan. So I put it's probably 50-50 whether they can keep Bryce Underwood around. I mean, do you really want to play in a situation where you don't have a chance to win anything? It's just money then. Well, you can get money anywhere else. You can go to a dozen different schools that'll pay you $3 or $4 million and play in the playoff, national title. All those things are still there for you. Now, he's from Michigan, so he might hang around because of that, but he was willing to go to LSU. It's 50-50 whether they keep Bryce or not. And it can happen. You saw what happened with Nico. He left and took a pay cut. But, you know, he thought he was going to get a big pay raise, which, of course, didn't happen.
You serious?
But anyway, not a whole lot of people have talked about it. I just think that's something that you got to keep into consideration. When you have the number 1 quarterback in the country, people are going to tamper. And I don't want to hear any Michigan fans complaining about tampering after what you did for almost 3 years with the sign stealing thing. I don't want to hear that crap.
Sorry.
Anyway, did want to broach this. And for all the people that I upset yesterday, look, I'm just going to tell you like it is, like it will probably come down. And I know that's going to upset people, but it is what it is. Now we're going to talk about the 16-team playoff, which I think is in the bag. I really do. And there's lots of reasons. The biggest being the fact that money is such a huge factor nowadays. And by going to 16 teams from 12 and eliminating the buys, you're going to get a lot more money from the college football playoff TV rights. Right now, here's what everybody gets. The SEC gets a little bit more than everybody else because they have less teams in their conference than Big Ten, but they get the lion's share, the 2 big conferences, and then the ACC and Big 12. They had to take what the SEC and Big Ten were willing to give them because SEC and Big Ten call the shots now. So when they went in and negotiate this, they said, if we don't get the lion's share 29% each and you can have 13, we're out of here. We'll just go do our own playoff. So ACC and Big 12 are like, crap. We got to put up with these bullies. And they are bullies, there's no doubt. So if you add more games, which you absolutely would with the playoff, if you go 16 and don't have buys, you're going to add a lot more games. and you're going to get more money. So if SEC gets $23 million, they'll probably get 27, 28, something like that. And Big Ten will get more, ACC and Big 12, which ACC and Big 12 need more money bad. The other thing that it does, it eliminates the problem with the buys we have currently. We're going to have one more year of this crap. And you're going to have a team or two that don't deserve to get a bye. Like last year, it was Arizona State and SMU, which they're good teams. I'm not sitting here ripping on them, but they didn't deserve a bye based on what they'd done on the field. But because, we had some socialism in that 12-team playoff, that's what happened. And I give Arizona State some credit for putting up a good game. It surprised me. Now, the 14-team playoff that has been discussed, I think that will get shot down for a multitude of reasons. Number one, the SEC and Big Ten getting an automatic bye for their championship is going to tick off the ACC and Big 12 and everybody else, including probably Notre Dame. And that's not going to sit well with anybody. And the SEC and Big Ten, do they really want to be hated on any more than they already are? Probably not, especially when you're not getting any more money. So, yeah, I understand the SEC and Big Ten want to keep their championship weekend as a big deal, and a bye obviously does that. But with what they're getting ready to do, what I think they're going to do with the championship weekends will make them a lot more money and be more exciting than what they're currently doing. And what that is would be play-in games. And I'm going to show you that I actually did a image for that. And for example, this would have been the SEC championship weekend last year. It would have been Texas versus Georgia for the championship. Then the third place team, which was Tennessee, would have played South Carolina, which was the sixth place team. Alabama would have played Ole Miss. Whoever won these two bottom games would have gotten in the playoff, which would have been very exciting because South Carolina was hot last year. Ole Miss was a good team. I mean, it would have been two fantastic ball games. And then these two teams would have played for the championship. Well, what does Greg Sankey like? He likes exciting games and money. Well, that's what you get. When you triple the number of games that you play on an SEC weekend or championship weekend, that's a lot more money.
Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money!
Absolutely. So you go to a 16 team, you get more money for the college football playoff TV rights. You get more money for the SEC championship weekend, Big Ten championship weekend, and it does a couple of other things. You go to the 16-team deal, you're going to get 4 automatics for the SEC, 4 for the Big Ten, 2 for the ACC, 2 for the Big 12, 1 for the group of 6, and then 1, of course, for Notre Dame because Notre Dame has to do everything their own way.
Excuse me!
And then you'll have 2 at-large bids on top of that. That's assuming that Notre Dame finishes in the top 16, which they probably would. So because you're guaranteed at least 4 spots for the SEC, that's going to push them to go to 9 games, which is what Greg Sankey desperately wants. And that also, here we go with the money thing again, that's going to get you about $80 to $100 million more dollars from ESPN for their contracts. And the Big Ten is ahead of the SEC as far as how much money they get in TV rights. And that's this number. And actually, it's about $10 million more for Big Ten because they have a couple of other TV rights they do with a couple other channels. So they've got about a $10 million advantage on the SEC. And part of that is they've got a 9-game schedule in conference. If we go to 9 games, that's going to go from $10 million probably to about $4 million. So that closes the gap for the SEC and Big Ten to some level. And Sankey really wants 9 games.
Oh, come on, Jerry, please, 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 please.
And you can probably talk the coaches into it and the presidents because more money and they're guaranteed those 4 spots and possibly a 5th spot with the at-large bids. Now, money again. The Big Ten has said that if SEC goes to 9-game conference schedule, they'll play them head-to-head in a series, which would be pretty fantastic, honestly. If you had your best teams going at it, best conferences going at it during the year, because they're guaranteed playoff spots, they're not worried about hurting themselves as far as that goes. That would be more TV rights money. Ohio State versus Georgia, Texas versus Penn State, Oregon versus Tennessee or Alabama. I mean, those would be big games during the year. And that's what the TV companies want. That's what the cable companies want. And Greg Sankey and Petiti would love that. So you can kind of see where this is headed, that 16 is the obvious answer. 14 is stupid and going to piss everybody off. So why do that? And you don't get any more money. So you make everybody mad. Everybody hates you, and you don't get any more money. And you walk away from tens of millions of dollars. Just make any sense. That's why 16, it's in the bag. We're going to 16. Top 8 will get home field advantage first game. Bottom 8 should be glad they're in. And then you'll go into the bowl games and do all that, which I'm sure they'll use the biggest bowl games for the same way they've used them prior, which 8, 4, 2, 1. So I feel very confident about the 16-game playoff. Not this year, obviously, because it's already done. But in 2026, that's where we'll be. And I see no other way that it doesn't happen. And the momentum's there, too. It's just too many reasons. Anyway, did want to cover these big stories today. Sorry I made everybody mad, but that's just, it's just going to happen. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button right there. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. Pretty good deal. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. Trying not to make people mad, but it just happens.
I'll turn this damn bus around. That'll end your precious little field trip pretty damn quick, huh?